Welcome to another episode of the Agency Success GPS podcast. Today I'm talking to Dan Fitzpatrick, and he is the second man in charge, him and Chris Willow, over at SPP. SPP is a software platform, a SaaS-based platform that basically takes care of all of your accounting from beginning to end. It's very it's actually simple to use, but a very advanced system, which I love. It's kind of like a better term, it's like a Stripe for your accounting for your agency. Productized everything from an agency getting started all the way up to a multi-7-figure, 8-figure agency. This platform is amazing. Chris and Dan have been working on it for a long time. They've rolled it out. At this point, I want to say they have around about 1,500 to 2,000 agencies using it. It is just a beautiful platform. So today we talk about how it helps a startup, how it helps a multi-7-figure agency, and of course, how you can get your productized agency into a system like this. And it can be a game changer for your controlling your costs and your expenses. So hope you enjoy the episode. Hey, Lee Goff here, host of Agency Success GPS podcast. I am honored to have Dan. He is the head of Agency Success for Service Pro Provider. They are an accounting platform provider dedicated to agencies. And the reason I decided to bring them into my podcast and into my partner promotions is because they have perfected the productization model on the accounting side. So I'm super excited to talk to Dan. Dan, how are you doing today?
Yeah, very well. Thanks, Lee. Thanks for having me.
I did a quick little introduction there. I probably did not do as good a job as I should have. So give us a quick elevator pitch on who Dan is and what SPP does.
Yeah, sure. Of course. Well, SPP is an agency dashboard and a client portal for productized services. And my background is really in marketing. So my background and education is in marketing, working in agencies for a number of years before moving into technology. And at SPP, we're a pretty small team, so we all wear quite a few hats, but I handle pretty much everything customer related. So with a real focus on helping agencies be successful through SPP.
Hence your title, right? So I love that title, head of agency.
Yeah.
So I love that. So, all right, man, let's dive off into this. And as everybody knows out there, I like to keep these kind of conversations really organic. As you know, I've talked to a lot of agency owners. I think we even talked about this in our pre-rec interview about how agencies feel like they're on an island. And so I don't like taking these things super strict. I like it to be organic and just talk about the real world stuff out there, right? So, but we do have questions kind of pre-framed in case we get stuck, which you don't know me well enough to know this, but I don't typically get stuck. I got plenty to talk about. Just ask me, I'll tell you all about it. So, all right, we do have question number one though. Okay, how does SPP, excuse me, how does SPP help an agency get started, and how long does it take to get up and running? So, go ahead, man. And how would you answer?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and truthfully, I think the most important thing when you're thinking about getting started is you probably want to concentrate on getting some sales first. So actually getting your business up and running, even if that means doing things through email or through phone calls. We get an awful lot of businesses who come to us, like especially new business owners signing up, and then they realize actually they haven't really built a solid foundation of a business yet. So they tend to come in, check out SPP, and then maybe they go away and come back later. And that's not a bad thing for them or for us. Like, they know we're here when they're ready. That being said, we're seeing more and more people actually starting productized agencies just from the very beginning. So kind of offering a limited number of services, perhaps at a lower price, instead of working with maybe a few large clients, which is, I guess, the more traditional approach. And I guess like the thing there is, if you want to scale a business like that, then you need to think about scaling the client base.
Yeah.
And that's really where I think a new business and where SPP can really come in. So once that client base is there and the sales are actually rolling in, I think it becomes quite apparent, it becomes apparent quite quickly, really, that you need a bunch of systems to help. So, I mean, that might be email for communications, obviously, forms for collecting some info.
Yeah, I think what you said there that really resonated with me is, and I thank you for saying this. This is why you're the head of agency success over there, right? This is why you're very good at your job. Is because you're honest, and you just got through saying that, listen, if you're just getting started, don't make a big rookie mistake. I see this all the time. They'll go out there and they'll sign up for 50 different platforms. Man, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, they sign up for all these platforms thinking the platforms are going to magically work for them. That's not how this works. Okay, just
Yeah,
get out there and do the hustle part. Now, I'm not one of those, just a lot of agencies are out there just coaching hustle, 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 right? And they give you hustle tactics. And me, I'm a work smarter, not harder guy. I'm not discrediting or even downplaying hustle. Is part of the equation. You got to have it, right? But that's not the only thing. There's a lot. I mean, you got to think, you got to work a lot smarter. So thank you so much. And saying that it's great to go out there and look at these kind of platforms when you're just getting started, but nothing beats getting some money in the door. Just go out and get some damn
absolutely.
clients. I mean, go out and beat the, well, in COVID, I guess, go out and beat the social media groups or whatever you got to do, right?
Yeah,
But
sure.
get those clients coming in. And then whenever you start tasting just even a little bit of success, that's when you go out and you find these platforms like SPP. Now, if you are just getting started, SPP has wonderful blogs and educational content for you. So go ahead and go out there and get some of those free resources. Those are phenomenal. But thank you so much for saying that, because I see this all the time. My gosh, they'll go out there and they'll spend 10 grand on damn platforms and won't do a damn thing with them, cancel them all. So very insightful. I really, really appreciate that. So just to kind of summarize what I heard there from Dan and what I was saying is that get out there. If you're just getting started, get a few clients, get some money coming in the door, pay the bills, right? And then at that point, as soon as you get those few clients, and I don't mean you don't have to be $1 million agency, you can be a $100,000 a year agency. And at that point, it's time to go ahead and start looking at systems to replicate yourself. And that is when SPP really shines. Is that kind of what I'm hearing there, Dan?
Absolutely, yeah. And like I was saying, I think it becomes pretty clear when you need these systems. And I think it's best to start adding these systems, as you go organically. Otherwise, I think what we see a lot of is, like you said, you go out and you buy all of these systems, and then you have to try and piece them all together, and it gets so complicated so quickly. And I think that's where something like SPP makes sense, because actually it's all consolidated, everything's in one place, and you're not having to deal with all of these different systems. But yeah, absolutely, completely agree. It's all about getting that business up and running first before you start thinking about what systems you might need in place.
Well, and I tell you what, a lot of people will actually think when you go, and I call them platforms because the reality is they're blank slates. They're not systems yet. Okay, so when you buy these platforms, don't think they're going to come out of the box with all this magic. You got to go in there. It's like Microsoft, man. You get Microsoft Office and you got to configure it. I mean, it takes, get that thing set up can take months, depending on the scale of your business, right? It can take months to get that thing dialed in, or hell, years to get it dialed in. Same thing with a CRM. All right, so I love it, man. Great stuff. Question number 2, you ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so let's step on up. That was to get them started. Now, what about a little more established agencies? Let's just say they're running about $100K a month in revenue, or somewhere right around that. They're right at that $1 million mark. What are the top 2 things SPP can help improve their day-to-day lives?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the first thing we've already kind of touched on a little, which is really bringing everything into one system, really has a lot of benefits. So for a larger agency, it's kind of streamlining those inner agency workflows that are really going to lead to greater efficiencies. So the thing that we hear a lot of is, the agency is starting to lose things in the process because there are lots of different team members involved. Perhaps someone doesn't get a notification about something, or something gets lost in the kind of pipeline. Just making everyone aware of what's going on at any given time, and things like not having to chase payment from customers, all of these little things just, makes this whole system a bit more efficient. And I think that then leads to lots and lots of time saving. So if the process that you have in a system is really slick and it's really robust, then there's a lot less time wasted on that kind of what we think of as like non-revenue generating work. Right. Like life admin, basically, within your agency. The team can really spend time delivering work for their customers, rather than messing around with admin. Like no one needs more life admin, in their world.
No, I call it. I don't want to call it free. It's free busy work. It's kind of the stuff that just it takes all your free time and keeps you busy, basically, right? So
exactly.
One of the things I really liked about your platform is the fact that your traditional type accounting platform, it has categories, and it has category. It just really honestly, it's not built for like a digital agency kind of environment, right? And so in this particular environment, you can literally go out and build out your entire product line with SKUs and individual like line item breakdowns for your product. So now you're actually giving values per line item, like I call value stacking. It allows you to kind of display that and standardize that a lot more. And for the record out there, one of my big pet peeves is like, oh, I got to find somebody just like me. I got to clone me. That is one of the biggest mistakes you can make out there. How you clone yourself is with systems and processes. You don't clone yourself with another human being, because if you do, well, you're an entrepreneur too. What makes you think they're not going to go out there and want to do the same thing? I mean, like, the odds on them sticking around forever are I'm not going to say slim to none, but they have aspirations of owning their own business as well, which is great. God bless them, right? But if you want to build a scalable business, any business agency specifically here, is that you have to kind of clone yourself or replicate yourself with simple but effective systems. And that's what I loved about SPP is you can take my productization model. Well, this is a perfect little segue into question number 3, but you can take my productization model and apply it to the SPP platform all the way down to where you've got like I said, the primary product line with the individual line items below, primary SKU, individual SKUs. Now you actually get cost breakdown all the way down through your all aspects of your product line. And that is critical in understanding your profit margins, understanding scope creep, and keeping your clients happy and billables and things like that up. So that sound about right, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just something that you mentioned there about, having to clone another human or having a process. I think when agency owners come into SPP and they have contractors or other team members, the thing that I think having a system like this, what it really helps is having these permissions and roles that you can set. So if you want contractors coming in the business and just working on client work, but not having any access to your client database or any of your kind of business information, that sort of thing is entirely possible. And I think that really, really helps with that kind of productized approach.
Definitely. And then, like I said, perfect. I think it's a perfect segue into question number 3, Dan. I coach on productization all the time with my students. And the reason I decided to promote SPP platform is this ability to standardize your product line and deploy it across multiple clients. Okay. Can you please explain this a little more for my audience about how you can get your product line in there and then deploy it across multiple clients, therefore making their lives easier? So
yeah, sure. I mean, firstly, I think something that's really interesting, or something that I find really interesting, is the number of agencies we come across who are actually already offering kind of a productized service already, but they don't actually realize, they don't know it. And I think having a solution like SPP or a platform like this, it actually helps agencies demystify this whole thing about what is a productized service, because it helps them realize that there are a bunch of things they already do or a bunch of services they already offer customers that follow these very similar samey kind of workflows, from making that initial sale through to collecting information from the customer, delivering the work, reporting, upselling, all of this stuff. Once you start putting this into a system, it kind of takes you out of your normal day-to-day working bubble, I suppose. And it helps you realize that you can apply this kind of productized thinking to a bunch of product lines, processes, or even individual parts of your process. And I think some agencies can be put off by this idea that maybe they think that they need to change everything that they're already doing or change everything at once. But from my experience, it's just not true. Like, some of our most successful customers have actually taken a really slow and steady approach, and they've kind of taken a single product line and applied that productized thinking to that product line, just to get a feel for how things work. And it allows them to test and learn as they go. And okay, for some agencies it can be tricky because maybe you're running 2 different processes side by side, but I think that potential for learning is just massive. And it means that you can get something working before you move to the next product line and kind of bring that into a system. So I guess what I'd say to your audience is it's really just simply taking the things that you're already doing as an agency and putting them into a system. In this case, perhaps SPP. And maybe you're going to introduce some new things as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always bringing out new platforms and things like that, and so I just let my audience make up their mind, right? I do promote different platforms that I'm sure are your competitors, and I am basically platform agnostic. Whatever works for whatever moves their lives forward is what I will put out there. But I will
Absolutely.
say, I want to touch on this topic. This kind of falls, it definitely falls within what we're talking about here. But one of the things that was always a nightmare for me is when you get into your project management platform and you have your task list and you have your product line over there. Well, it never matches up with accounting because, again, the way that the traditional accounting platforms do it, like QuickBooks and things like that, it's all about categories, and you can get individual SKUs, but it's not a master SKU, a sub. Anyways, the way it's structured is different, right? And the way yours works is that you come in and it starts at the accounting level, you set everything up perfectly, and then at that point it bleeds down into the project management automatically, so it's all synced up perfectly. Now, if you're running any agency of any size, what I just said should kind of get you a little bit excited, because it is a nightmare when you got a project management platform and you're attempting to get in alignment with your product line SKUs. And again, just for the record, if you're not in a niche and you don't have a product line, it's going to be very difficult to standardize your accounting and all your project management platforms, because you literally are making it up as you go. Okay, so the difference between having a bespoke or service type consultative type agency and a product line is the fact that in a product line you do exactly the same thing you do over here, except you clearly define it. You begin with the end in mind. You get a project. Okay, you get a microphone. It has this type of functionality. It has these features. You get that one. I got 6 different microphones, so you can pick the one that you like the best, but you're going to pick one of these 6 microphones. I'm not going to go out and engineer one from scratch for you. That's in a very rudimentary way. That's in essence what a product line is. So if you don't begin with the end in mind, there's really not, if you're making it up as you go, okay, then you're going to have a difficult time finding any platform that's going to help you standardize it. But if you can just clearly define your products and start with an accounting platform that literally gets it all mapped out for you, then syndicate down to multiple clients, okay, via a project management platform, of which, by the way, SPP has all of that in there. Now you've got a centralized management system that can really kind of get you in control of your service department's performance and profitability, right? Does that sound about right, Dan?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think just having all of those different elements in one system and kind of introducing those product lines, as you said, it's really, really straightforward. And
It really is. And it's one of those things after the light. In my coaching calls, I always tell them, because I could give them just, here's the product line, here's this, go, right? That's giving a man or a woman, a fish, right? And that is great. They will love you for the 24 hours. Might be a big fish, might feed them for 2 nights. And they're like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then come around that weekend, they're like, I don't know how to fish. So they can't feed themselves going forward. So I'm pretty kind of rough on my students, right? I'm not the nice guy. Okay. I'm there to get results, right? And if that, and I like to tell everybody that front, because, in today's world, everybody's looking for somebody to be so politically clear. Yeah, don't hire me. Okay, please do yourself a favor. Okay, don't hire me. I'm going to tell you things you're not going to like, period. So with that being said, though, if you cannot get control of your cost and get them into a system like this, and if you're doing bespoke, you're never going to break through that real kind of that higher level profit margin that everybody wants to be able to scale. Okay, systems like SPP that's how you do it. These systems by default, putting your product lines in there will force you to standardize them. And due to the fact you're standardizing them, now you can replicate them and scale them. Hopefully that came full circle there. I don't know if it did, but hopefully that made sense to everybody out there. Dan, this is this part of the podcast segment where it's what I call the shameless plug moment. So you get basically 30 seconds to a minute just to how do they get in touch with you, any special offer, shameless plug moment, fire away. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you're interested in checking out SPP, we do offer a 14-day free trial. Don't need to enter any payment details. We won't ask you for your credit card. So head over to spp.co, check out the trial, and feel free to get in touch with us. And we're very happy to help jump on a call with you, help you get started.
All right. So that's spp.co. Is that right?
That's right.
Any Facebook groups or anything they can go check out before they get over there or anything like that? So.
It's all linked on our website, all linked on there.
All on SPP.co. Okay, great. Well, Chris Willow is the CEO founder. I met him, great guy. And Dan, you are the head of agency success. And so I really, really appreciate you coming on board today. And if anybody's out there looking to kind of standardize your accounting and your project management, especially if you have a productized agency, like how I coach the majority of my students on, go take a look at them. It's impressive what they've got going on over there, and they're going to continue to develop out this platform. So I really appreciate you taking the time, Dan.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lee.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And of course, let's get you over to the next episode. If you have not already, make sure to subscribe to my podcast. And if you are not following us on YouTube or in our private Facebook group, make sure to get over there and check those out as well. And of course, we're also always available at marketingagencycoach.com. Look forward to seeing you in all those channels. And I hope you're having a wonderful day.